Morning, everyone. Greetings from California. Another beautiful sunny day here in Silicon Valley. I'm just out for a walk today, and I wanted to share my thoughts on some of the recent trends with some of the tech layoffs recently. And that is the trend of companies labeling people as low performers as part of a blanket layoff. So I wanted to share, what I think about this concept. Also why I think companies might be doing something like this. And then lastly, if you fall in that group, what you might do about it and how you might think about it in terms of your own career going forward. So first of all, I'll just say right at the outset that I truly disagree with this strategy of companies blanket labeling people as low performers. I think it's lazy, and I think that it doesn't really help any of those people move on to a new opportunity, which is unfair. So I think that, for people in that situation, there's usually a mixture whenever a layoff happens. There are certainly probably some low performers, but to blanket say that everyone in a certain layoff is a low performer, I just don't think it's right. And I think a lot of people in Silicon Valley and beyond agree with that sentiment. So, if you are in that situation, I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end, but just say at the outset, I'm sorry that that's happening to you, whether you were impacted by the layoffs last year at Intuit or the most recent ones at Meta that they just announced yesterday. So let me talk about why I think companies might be doing this strategy and kind of what it might mean. So I think it comes down to primarily two things. We've seen a lot with those companies about focus on efficiency and results. And by labeling people in this way, they're hoping to signal to their investors that they're really focused on achieving results, being more efficient, all those things that they talk about in the news, which is, fine. I think they can do that without labeling people in that way. But I think that's one part of it, is to signal to investors and boards that they're on it and that they're focused on results there. So I think that's a huge part of it. Don't agree with that, like I said, but I think that's definitely one driver for this. Another one is really more internally focused. So I believe that companies are doing this as a way to signal to their current employees what their new expectations are going forward. So what I mean by that is, let's imagine you're at one of these companies, they've just done a massive layoff of 5, 10%, or even more in some cases, and they've given people this label of quote unquote low performer. So what that signals to you, if you're inside and you're remaining, is that, wow, I better work twice as hard. I better do more. I better be prepared to do more with less. And that's, fine in some sense, I guess. I think they can achieve that without that kind of signaling there. But in any case, I think that's the second reason that companies are adopting this policy. So I've seen a couple companies do this so far. I really hope this is not a trend going forward. I just think it's a really bad way to see people off that may not have been the right fit for a variety of reasons. But let's see how that develops. So lastly, I want to share a bit about what you can do if you find yourself in that situation. So what I would say is, as best as you can, don't let that define you. Just because a company chose to do that for their own corporate reasons does not define you currently, and it also does not limit or define your future success that you may find in other roles that you may get to going forward. So I think some of the proactive things you can do are, one, a mindset shift to think about, not labeling yourself that way. Don't take that label that they've tried to put on you. And also a narrative. I think most reasonable people disagree with those policies. And so while you might not be able to get into some new companies because of that policy and that label, frankly, you probably didn't want to work at those companies anyway. So like most things, they can be blessings in disguise in a way. But the key thing is, don't accept that label. Don't let it define what you can do going forward. So just to recap a little bit of my thoughts on that new policy for layoffs. some reasons why companies are doing that, and also how you might think about it if you find yourself in that situation. Hope that's helpful. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.